The bad news is many will be misled. The good news is not the church. The time of this video is March 11, 2024. We just had the State of the Union where the president comes out and gives the state of the United States, how things are. Well, if we were to give a state of the union as it relates to the body, you would kind of have to put an asterisk on it because you really couldn't tell who really is part of the body, who's not part of the body. But there's one part that's happening inside and around and amongst the body that really isn't the body. And so I guess you would put it the state of Christianity, meaning Christianity encompassing all of those who name the name of Christ, even though the majority are not actually Christians. And so let's just leave it at that. Not to say that Christians or Christianity is a bad term, because Peter talks about suffering as a Christian. The word Christian is perfectly fine. That's who we are. But when we look at those folks who are out there proclaiming to be Christians, many of them have gone astray and are leading other people off the beaten path. This is only the third month of 2024. We haven't made to the 15th, the middle of the third month. We haven't even gotten a full quarter in. And thus far in 2024, we've had a lot. We started the year off on a high note. And by high note, I mean low note, with the pastor bringing in the new year in the most secular way possible. And then, of course, we've got people that will come back and defend him and call those who were bothered by this, call us Pharisees, unloving, and so forth.
Shout out to my brother, Pastor William Murphy, and the entire Dream Center Church in Atlanta, Georgia. You guys know how to bring in a new year.
We've got pastors being tackled on stage. We've got pastors passing out money, calling it seed.
God. Hey, you 9, right? 9. And I want you to live in the overflow. Here you go.
The same pastor jumping on a trampoline and getting his hair cut.
Stamina. I'm actually gonna do something. I'm gonna preach this whole time while he's cutting me. This is God's process.
And being upset because people are upset and leaving.
Another staff member just left, and all they said was it's because God called them somewhere else. After 6 years, you can't even tell me the real reason, but you do subliminal Instagram posts?
True believers are said to have hate in their heart, and then we're even attacked by saying that us or our institution, the way we've done things, we've always done things in many ways, you know, the ways that made you popular, prosperous financially, the way that made you famous, all of that is whack.
Institution of church is whack. I think how church is ran is whack. I think the religious system and structure is whack.
And isn't it interesting, the very same people that will attack the church and call it all sorts of names are the very ones that are destroying the church, or at least trying to. The very same ones that are introducing destructive heresies, that are saying all sorts of things, that think that entertainment is the way that we ought to do things.
I really do believe in something that I call spiritual entertainment. I don't believe that spirituality by itself can hold the attention of a person's heart to the degree that they can be transformed. In order for you to hold their attention, you need a level of entertainment. So you need entertainment, you need education, and you need spirituality.
These are people who think that you have no need of the scriptures, who think that what you really need is for someone to kind of engage you and hold your attention just so they can get a motivational point across.
Give that man some pasta. Give that man some peace. And I'll let y'all fill in the other P. And you know what that woman needs? She needs dedication.
Yes.
Some dollars. And I'm going to let y'all figure out the other D.
Foolishness, unbiblical doctrines, and stage plays is the new norm for a lot of churches today. It's okay to swing on a wrecking ball in a church. And it's also okay to kick a Bible like it's a football in a church.
If Patterson holds Driscoll back to kick, we're going to get some emails. Here we go.
It's okay in the church to accept worship as though you are someone special.
I love you so much, Mama. It is such an honor to serve you. I honor you as your spiritual daughter. I love you, and you're my favorite. You're my favorite person. You are everything to me.
Which makes sense because I want to write a book about how everything God is, we are. Whatever God wants us to be, whatever God is like, we're like.
And whatever he is, you are too.
And there's no need for anyone to be bothered by that because, again, we should never feel guilty for any sort of sin or for acting in a way that's unbecoming of a believer.
After you sin, you never have to feel guilty.
Now, that's kind of the bad news, but the good news is it was something that was always talked about. Jesus says that in the end, as we get closer and closer to the end, that false teachers and false prophets are going to rise. As a matter of fact, Peter picks up the same point. He says, but false prophets also arose among the people, just as there will also be false teachers among you who will secretly introduce destructive heresies. Now, if you're going to secretly introduce destructive heresies, the word secretly implies that it will be above someone's head. They won't actually catch it. It'll kind of slip by and then sink in. And what he means by that are these different teachings that are unbiblical, teachings that teach that we don't need the word as much, or this is okay, that's okay. You know, when Paul says not to leave or depart from what is written, they're going to do that. As a matter of fact, they'll do it in such a way to where people just don't even care. This is what's called, as some call it, the great falling away. In 1 Timothy 4, Paul says, but the Spirit explicitly says that in latter times some will fall away from the faith, not from having faith, not the true church. If you are a believer, you will never depart from that. If you're believing today, you will keep believing. That is, if you're a true believer, not those that have convinced themselves they are, not those that are false converts. And this is what he's speaking of. Those people they will depart from. Notice this is a noun, not a verb. They will depart from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and doctrines of demons, by means of hypocrisy of liars, seared in their own conscience as with a branding iron. And so you're going to have all these things brought in, new teachings, new revelations, fresh revelation, as though the one that we got in the scriptures it's not good enough. It's outdated. Forget the fact that we never even mastered that. Forget the fact that we're still trying to deal with that. Let God bring in something new. That one, we don't need that. That is so last year. We need something new. All of these different actions, even these faulty ways, these false ways of claiming to be in the Spirit or being entertained or being motivated to go out and get a better job or increase your finances or find a spouse or what have you, or just a place to kind of hang out as a club, that is going to be the new norm. Again, remember, we're not even made it to a full quarter of the first quarter of 2024, and we're seeing this more and more and more. This is why we bring this stuff out, because it's going to become the new norm for a lot of people, and it's going to be harder and harder for true converts or those that are prospective true converts to actually weed through. This is why you need people to say, listen, this is wrong, this is right. This is why Jude says, I wrote you with this desire to speak about our common salvation, but I found it necessary to ask you, to plead with you, to earnestly contend for the faith. That's where we're at now. Paul says the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but they will have itching ears. They're going to look for people to entertain them. Look for people to tell them what they want to hear. Look for people to comfort them, even if they sin. And if you get caught sinning too much, well, then guess what? All it is a demon. It's not you. You're not responsible. There cannot be any consequences because it's a demon. And this is where we are now, without the word being what's important. No, it's about you being comforted, you being made to feel like you're okay, even though you're not, made to feel like you're okay, no matter what it is you say, no matter what it is you do, no matter what it is you think. And so we'll be able to look back at the end of this year and kind of compare it to 2023, 2022, 2021. What about 2012? What about 2002? What about 1992, 82? Going back, we'll see how it's progressively gotten worse and worse. And then notice the trajectory, because we'll look back in 5 years from now and see, yeah, this was pretty bad. But it will become the new norm. So what things are going to be like in 2030, 2040, we'll think that 2024 and 2023 are tame. That's okay, no big deal. What's wrong with that? Because we do things nowadays where we look and say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, if it goes against scriptures, I don't care what the year is, what the calendar says, it goes against scriptures. And so if it was sin, if it was wrong, if it was anti or unbiblical in 2000, anti or unbiblical in 1990 or 1890, well, then guess what it is in 2024? I don't care that we have technology now to blast around this stuff, new technology to kind of smooth over, AI to kind of help us with getting past or indulging in sin. Doesn't matter. God is not concerned with the calendar. He's concerned about our heart. And the fact of the matter is, guys, this is going to be more and more. It's going to be rampant. It's going to ramp up even more. And so you do the work of an evangelist. As Paul says, fulfill your ministry. And as Paul did, fight the fight and keep the faith. Keep the tenets of the faith. Amen.